That's really cool, and I'm assuming, and we'll talk about this as we jump into your how you've done your online lessons and your YouTube and stuff, which I think will take some time to really we should flesh it out. But did you find that you could take that information, stuff that you just wanted to do for yourself, and you go, oh man, maybe I could make a lesson out of this. Maybe I could make a PDF out of this. Like what got you, or did you, first of all, did you do that with the Ravel stuff? And second of all, when did the thought come into your mind about, can I make this into a product? Can I monetize this? Can I actually use this in a way that will further my teaching? Stuff like that.
So that could be a great segue if you want to get into the YouTube stuff, because the original reason I even started my YouTube channel was because I had this idea that I was going to arrange all these Ravel songs for 2 guitars. And I should clarify too, this is on electric guitars. I wasn't doing it on a classical. So like the classical purists will get mad at me. I was like playing with a pick and not doing anything in a traditional sense, but trying to figure out because there's so much classical guitar music, but the style of classical music that I've always resonated with was like the Impressionist, like Debussy, Ravel, Eric Satie. And you might see a couple of those songs for guitar, but you don't typically see very much guitar repertoire for those composers. And in most instances, the songs are too complicated to do with one guitar. So I got this idea in my head, well, what if I tried to do some arrangements of Ravel's piano music for 2 guitars? And initially, I had the idea of writing a book of the arrangements, and I ended up never doing that. It ended up being the notation and the way everything would have to be written. It was just too complicated to really iron out. So I was like, all right, I'll start a YouTube channel and I'll just start recording myself playing these arrangements, just put them out as videos, just kind of like as a fun little outlet, because I was learning them anyway and I was recording them. I was like, I might as well just make videos of them and put them out in the world, because there's not a ton of Ravel guitar arrangements out there in general. And once I started doing that for a while, then I started getting some subscribers and some people were really into what I was doing. And at a certain point, I was like, all right, maybe I should start doing a little more with the YouTube channel and see what could come out of this. And I was, very naive with a lot of the YouTube stuff. I started doing the channel in 2018, and I didn't even realize up until 2018 that you could make money doing YouTube videos, because I grew up, I was born in 1990. So I saw like the birth of YouTube, and like way back when I was in high school, like I don't think you were able to make money doing YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, you remember the original days of YouTube. It was so much different than it is now. And it was so much easier to get people to watch your videos back then. You didn't have to promote anything. And I have this one video I posted when I was in high school, doing the Power Rangers theme song. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I don't think so.
But I was at my friend's house. I just recorded myself doing the Power Rangers theme song, and it got like 350,000 views. I never promoted it anywhere. And it's on a channel that I can't even access because it was before Gmail linked with, or you need a Gmail account to get on YouTube. So I was like, all right, well, you can make money off of YouTube after a certain, amount of time. There's obviously all these different thresholds you have to reach. So I was like, maybe I'll just keep doing this, and this could be another just little revenue stream that can eventually pay off if I put enough work into it. So after I did the Ravel arrangements, I started exploring some other classical composers. It's weird. My channel kind of originally started out as like classical guitar, which is not something I'm known for at all, but it was just kind of the thing that I was really interested in at that time. It was a phase I was going through. So I did a couple of Prokofiev arrangements and a couple of Alexander Scriabin, who's my favorite Russian composer. He writes beautiful piano stuff, super ahead of his time. Like a lot of people credit Stravinsky as being the first really modern composer out of Russia, but Scriabin was actually even before Stravinsky, but I think some of his stuff was a little above people's heads for the time. Like anybody listening, I would recommend, there's a piece called The Poem of Ecstasy by Alexander Scriabin, one of the most like wild just pieces to come out of Russia. So after a while, then I was like, well, I want to do some stuff other than classical music. So, huge Beach Boys fan. I've transcribed probably 50 or 60 Beach Boys songs at this point. So I was like, why don't I just try doing some guitar arrangements of Beach Boys songs? So then it morphed from classical into Beach Boys. So like I said at the beginning of the video, my interests are all over the place. You could really see that through my YouTube channel. And then I was like, I should probably start doing some other stuff as well. And I was like, if I just try to cover as many different artists as I can, then hopefully I can attract a lot of different people to the channel and hopefully get some new subscribers. So I just started doing a wide variety of different covers, and then started doing some just guitar solo covers of like solos that a lot of people don't typically do very often. So there were a couple of Meshuggah solos that I really liked that I transcribed and worked out, and I did some videos of that. So Ravel, Beach Boys, Meshuggah.
It all makes sense, man.
Yeah, right. That's and then at a certain point, I was like, maybe I should start doing some lesson videos because that's like I teach for a living, so I can offer a lot in the teaching space. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, other successful YouTube channels, what do they have going for them that I can incorporate into mine? And one thing that I thought about was if you just start posting things on a regular schedule where people can expect to see something at a certain time, I find that seems to be pretty effective. So I started doing a series every Tuesday. It was called Lick of the Week, and I would do that. I would put one up every Tuesday at noon, and basically I would transcribe a lick from most of the time jazz artists, but I veered off into a lot of other areas as well. But I would transcribe a lick. I would, I'd have the notation on the screen, and then I would do like a little 5-6 minute lesson talking about like the fingerings and the theory of what's going on in the lick. And I did that every Tuesday for a couple of years. I ended up doing 140 of them, and I never missed a week.
Wow, amazing.
And so I was doing that, and then I was doing a lot of just different guitar arrangements, and eventually that veered off into other types of lesson videos. And then eventually I started another series called Cool Chords, where I would just find different chord progressions that I thought sounded pretty unique. And same idea, I would transcribe it, I'd show the notation on the screen, and then talk about what I think the theory might be. I would try to find progressions that were a little bit more out of the ordinary, stuff that really caught my ear. And sometimes it's not always super clear, the theory behind some of those, especially when it's being written by a person that's just playing by ear. So like, for example, I don't know if you know the band XTC. So they have this one song called Easter Theater, which has really wild string arrangements, and I transcribed that. And I was like trying to explain it in the video, but I know for a fact, like the main songwriter in XTC, Andy Partridge, like he does not know like any theory, and everything he does is by ear. But he's got such ridiculous ears that he can just come up with these really exotic, harmonic movements. And I remember doing that video. I was like, I think this is kind of a stretch. Like he's definitely not thinking about any of this. But it's even if the writer is not approaching it from a theoretical perspective, it's still cool to kind of break it down and try to figure out like, why does this sound so cool? There's obviously something going on here that's creating this sound. Like, what is it? So then I did that, and at a certain point, I did reach a point of burnout with my YouTube channel because I was doing 3 videos a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 2. So the Lick of the Week every Tuesday, and then either a guitar arrangement or something else every Monday and Friday. So I'd post 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday.
So how much time in that? Let me just pause you for a second. How much time? Please. Let's say when you were at that frenetic pace, the 3 times a week, how many? If you had to break down how many hours to prepare something like that, that would be in a given week, what would be an average for you? It
was a lot. I mean, I can't give a specific number, but I've thought about it. I would say definitely between 15 and 20 hours a week. But the thing is, like, I loved doing it, so it didn't feel like work. Like it gave me an outlet to explore so much more stuff. So like if I was listening to a song and I heard a cool chord progression, I was like, oh, I can make a video on that. Like that's unique. And I'm getting something out of it too, because then I'm learning it. Most of the lesson videos I did were not things that I already knew prior to making the video. I would kind of learn it for the video. So I would always be on the lookout for cool licks and solos for my Lick of the Week. And it was just a great outlet to just keep exploring stuff and keep learning. But it was a lot of work. And I would say between maybe 15 to 20 hours per week, but multiple days a week I would get up and I'd basically just start making videos and until I had to leave to go teach lessons. And then COVID was really great because I was home all the time. So COVID, I really kind of went crazy with the YouTube stuff because I just had so much more time, and I was like, this is the time to really go in. And in hindsight, I really wish that I had started my YouTube channel more in like the early 2010s before everything, because everything became so oversaturated during COVID because everybody's home. They're like, I might as well start doing stuff. But luckily I started my channel in 2018. So I kind of missed that whole COVID oversaturation thing. And I did develop a nice little following of people prior to then. So